Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's town hall. I feel, does anybody want to move up closer, or how do we want to do this? Come on up, I promise. You won't bite. We're happy to be here in Alief Independent School District. I'm Steve Flores, former superintendent, working on behalf of JG Consulting, and we're happy to be here today to hear from you. You won't hear a lot from us. We want to hear from you. There's 4 direct questions that we have. We'll be monitoring also on Zoom. But today is an opportunity to hear from the community what they aspire and what they seek, and assist us in finding your next superintendent. You know, there's big shoes to fill. Alief is a well-recognized district throughout the state and nation, so thanks to all of you for being a part of that and doing a great job. So without further ado, like I said, my name is Steve Flores. I was a superintendent of the Round Rock Independent School District for 7.5 years and 5 years in the Rio Grande Valley. Prior to that, I was in Harlingen CISD. I was in Dallas as the chief of staff before that. So began my career as a teacher, actually as a paraprofessional. I'd say what year, but that would age me, and I don't want to do that. No, actually back in 1983 as a paraprofessional. So I've been in education for 37 years, and I love the search process, trying to find that great match for a district like Alief. So thank you for having me today, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Mike McKay.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Really do appreciate your attendance, and thanks to all the people on Zoom. If we have any people joining us right now, we sure do appreciate your time with us. Like Steve, I guess I'm going to age myself here because I started my teaching career in Texas opening up Elsik High School. So I spent 7-8 years, can't remember, at Elsik High School, and then moved right next door to Fort Bend ISD, where I became an assistant principal, served actually at Blvd High School as an assistant principal, then moved up through the ranks principal, assistant superintendent. Actually, I was Fort Bend's interim superintendent before Mr. Guerr left the school district here, about a year ago now, or maybe a year and a half about now. But it's great being back in the Houston area. I retired after being superintendent of Hayes CISD, and that is directly south of Austin. If you know the Blvd area, Kyle area, it's just north of San Marcos, kind of give you a landmark there. But retired now, so I'm happy to join JG Consulting and help me with their searches. And of course, we're here to not just represent JG Consulting, working with your school board, more importantly, interacting with citizens, because it's your voice that matters to us. We'll be sharing all the information with your board throughout the development of the profile, and I know Steve already went through the profile and timeline associated with that. So that's why we're here today. We're here for you. We have 4 very simple questions. There are no right or wrong answers regarding those, and we will capture all that information from the community, from staff, from students. If you haven't completed the online survey, feel free to do so. If we have any people out there on Zoom, please take advantage of that opportunity. That information is just like you sitting in an audience for a town hall meeting. So we value that feedback. And we'll be monitoring Zoom here as throughout the meeting. First question is quite simple, is what are your hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? So if you think of where you are today, where do you want to go? What are your hopes and aspirations regarding a new superintendent, taking the helm of Alief ISD? I'll need you to come to the microphone and speak regarding all of the questions, so people that are online have an opportunity to hear you as well as hear me. So, hopes and aspirations for Alief.
Okay. One of the things that I hope that the new superintendent can do is lift the product that was in Alief for such a long time. I think there are a lot of things I know that's going to be on the superintendent's plate, but one of the things that I wish that they would do is build a relationship with the children. And when I say that, I mean, they need to make sure that they do take time to visit schools, interact with them, whether it be at pep rallies, whether it be at assembly. The students should know who the superintendent is just the way they know who their teacher is or their principal. So that's one of the things that I've been in the district for quite some time. And the alumni that the students that have left are very Alief proud. And so I want that to continue. I know we have open enrollment here, but the students that left that are Alief community members, they love their district. And I just want to make sure that that continues.
It's a great comment. And I know that that's alive in your school system. We had a speaker last week when I was here, and she was a product of your school system and is a teacher, and a very proud teacher at that, to be back in her home school district. Of course, that's just one person. Do we have anything online, Steve? Any comments? And we can come back to the questions throughout this entire process as well. And that holds true for people that are monitoring us on Zoom. We can introduce the questions and come back to any question at any time. So, hopes and aspirations. Again, if you think of something later, please feel free to go online, read that survey, and add whatever you would like to the survey. If we have no other comments, let's go ahead and move on to question 2, which is really an important question, is what are your celebrations in Alief? I know you probably have several, but you know, when we share this information with superintendents, your final candidate that the board will recommend, and he looks back or she looks back at your celebrations, what would those be? Celebrations. Don't be shy. I think we need you to be the first person each time to break the ice.
Well, we can
Can you come to the microphone? I'm sorry, but...
Okay, one of the things that we can celebrate now is that we just recently, this year, opened up our Early Learning Center. We have our early college, Alief Early College. We have a career in tech. So those are things that I feel like the district has done an excellent job with. So, anybody else?
We come.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think Alief has done several things really well. I'm from Colorado, and so things are a little bit different in Houston than they are there. One of the things that I like is actually the lottery system for picking schools. I feel like that has made people from all different groups, areas, kind of be forced to come together and learn together. And I think that has grown the population as a whole, and I think that's definitely something to be triumph over, or to be a triumph. Another thing is Alief has one of the lowest school district tax rates in the Houston area, and I think that shows good money management, making sure the money is going to the right places, used appropriately. And I think that's one of the things it has going for it. But even though it's got a low tax rate, I think that we're doing well educating children, because during the pandemic there was a lot of school districts that kind of fell off. And Texas went ahead and measured school districts to see how well they were doing, and any school district that fell below that kind of DF level, they just said, okay, we're just not going to measure you this time and give you a pass. And Alief wasn't one of those that had to get a pass. Alief is in that group. We got a B level of the A to C that would have been measured. So I think that Alief has done well budgetarily, as well as with teaching the students. So those are some of the big accomplishments that I think that Alief has done, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well.
Thank you very much.
And Mike, we have a couple of comments on the chat. Engage on having our families also engage in our schools. So celebrating families as well as engaging our families in our schools is a celebration. Also, one that would recognize Parent or Family of the Year, and that would be a nice celebration this year.
Very good.
So keep it coming. Thank you for that. And also, again, this is our opportunity to hear from you, so feel free to share your thoughts with regards to these questions and anything else.
Yeah, question one, going back, I know we had someone just enter the audience here at the center, as well as anyone that just came online with Zoom. Question one was, what are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? And of course, we just asked question two, which was, what are some of your celebrations in your school district? So we have any more celebrations here in our audience? Anything on Zoom? We're counting on our Zoom people to interact with us here this afternoon. Would you like to go through?
No, again, just having our new superintendent very engaged on having our families also engaged in the schools. So that partnership is so critical.
Absolutely. Our third question is, what current challenges must be overcome in order to achieve the expressed shared hopes and aspirations of you, our stakeholders? So what challenges need to be overcome in order to meet your expectations, the expectations of staff, students, etc.? Any challenges that come to mind?
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. Let me first start off by saying go Bears, because you taught us it. Let me thank you for your work in the Rio Grande. Their data has been phenomenal lately. I don't know when you work there, but they've turned around their ship and are doing phenomenal there based on where they've come from and the data. So thank you for your service there. On the August 10th, 2022, Damon Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. During the August 10th, 2022 Town Hall meeting, Mr. McKee, you stated that you and JG Consultants were here to help the community develop our profile of our next superintendent. I want to talk about the educators and the work that they do here and the extra duties as assigned, the school bus drivers that do the extra duties as assigned, the maintenance workers that do the extra duties as assigned, the individuals that come here during the Town Hall meeting and set up extra duties as assigned. Consultant James Guerr ended the August 9th, 2022 meeting 12 minutes early. Consultant Michael Hinojosa arrived 8 minutes late to the August 16th, 2022 meeting. And then Mr. Hinojosa ended the August 16th, 2022 meeting 11 minutes early for a total of 31 minutes owed back to our community to have our voices heard. My concern is that the individuals who you're here to represent, I started off each presentation when I came here stating that 85% of our community is socially, economically disadvantaged. They work 2 and 3 jobs, take public transportation to get here. Just to get from the administration building to here is 4 miles, so it takes at least 1 to 2 buses, well over an hour. If they're working 2 to 3 jobs, they have difficulties coming to this place and having their voice heard. During the August 24th, 2021 school board meeting, the Director of Risk Management, Katina Gordon, stated that when discussing COVID-19 protocols and parents calling in those COVID-19 cases, she stated that our parents don't like technology and they don't have technology. So I say all that to say that if you all are here to represent our community, you owe us 31 minutes. We're not getting a return on our investment. If you're walking through the door with the idea of getting us out of here early, or you're paid to do one job and you're not even doing that one job while our teachers are doing other jobs as expected, I'm concerned about that. Because is that the type of leader that you're going to pick for our superintendent? Is that the type of leader that you're going to pick for these teachers and the educators? So very concerned about that, and I am watching, just like this gentleman talked about our tax rates. I'm watching you all because y'all are setting the bar. First impressions are everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Steve, do we have any more comments on Zoom? again, that question was relating to challenges that must be overcome in order to achieve your goals, your aspirations here in Alief.
There is language barriers. Have more bilingual staff that not only speak English or Spanish. With our diverse community, we need other languages on our campus. So, thank you for that.
It's a very good comment. We will go on to question number 4. Again, we can go back, and I'll go back for those that have just joined us in Zoom and for anyone that enters our room here late. But the 4th question is, what characteristics, traits, and experiences, I think that's an important thing that sometimes people overlook, would help the new superintendent have the best chance of moving Alief ISD forward toward achieving your expressed aspirations and their aspirations as the new superintendent, where they would like to lead and take Alief ISD. So what are the characteristics, traits, experiences, a lot of people think of qualities, etc., in your next candidate that you would like to see?
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. I want to also say thank you all. Great job on adding that additional town hall meeting on Saturday after listening. So I know you all heard me, so you added an additional town hall meeting, the 5th one, on Saturday from 1 to 2. So thank you for that, for the parents who are working during the week and can't make any of these meetings. But some of the things that I would like our new superintendent, he or she, to be able to do is to do a better job of serving the 85% socially economically disadvantaged. Our current superintendent, H.G. Chambers, does a great job of appeasing to the 15%, but not such a great job of appeasing to the 85%. So I'd like the next superintendent to do a better job of recognizing the needs and the challenges of the 85% socially economically disadvantaged, especially because those are the individuals that are paying the salaries. When you have socially economically disadvantaged, you all know you get additional funds for those students and those families. When you have special ed students, you get additional funds for those students. So to be receiving additional funds for that populace and not attributing resources to that populace concerns me. So I would like to see the next superintendent do a better job of appeasing and working with the 85% socially economically disadvantaged and the special ed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is important, the 85%. That's a number throughout the state will grow. Not only in Alief, but throughout the state, so thank you for that. The district needs to prioritize community and parent engagement to help us achieve our goals, offering a variety of services for our students and parents. Also, pay and benefits need to be competitive.
On that question, I would love for our superintendent to be able to make a decision and to defend it. Right now, we're having too many districts that are crumbling under pressure, political pressure, parent pressure sometimes, and even student parent. But I would love if they make a decision that they will be able to defend it, whatever decision. That would be one of my main goals, but in order to do that, they would need to have some type of experience as a staff member, as an administrator, because when you make a decision, then you know where they're coming from. We have too many in our state house that are so far removed from the classroom that they're making decisions not knowing what the current challenges are. So I expect that when we do get he or she, as a superintendent, that they are able to make a decision that will benefit, that will raise the district, and then they're able to defend it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Mike, we've got another. One of the challenges that we need to overcome is bringing back an open door policy on the school campus for families to be engaged, whether it's breakfast, lunch in the classroom, without being feared or being turned away at the front office because of the fear. And, again, that's a valid concern, but again, safety is so critical at this time as well. So it's one of those things that is really, really on everybody's mind. So thanks for that comment. Also, additional funds need to be directed towards student equity, including providing additional resources, programs, and support for our special education students.
Yeah, I'll read through the questions once again for those that are in attendance as well as those that may have just joined us on Zoom. Our first question was, what are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? Again, that's kind of separate apart from the new superintendent, but what are your hopes and aspirations for your school system, the students that we serve? And then question number 2 goes back to, what are your current celebrations? What are you doing well? You know, when you talk to people about Alief ISD, what's one of the first things you say? And you know what? I moved from here, like the gentleman from Colorado, and here I am now in Alief, Texas. And man, I'm here to tell you this is what they're doing, and they're doing it extremely well. You know, what are your celebrations? Question 3 was, what are your current challenges that must be overcome in order to achieve whatever you desire? You know, your superintendent and board develop goals each and every year. So what challenges need to be overcome in order to achieve those goals that your board and superintendent develop? And then the last question we just asked goes back to the characteristics, the traits, the qualities of your next superintendent. What are you looking for in that particular person? Do we have anything else on Zoom, Steve?
No, at least that.
Okay. We'll continue to monitor Zoom. I know someone out here, you go, thank you very much. I must have jogged a memory bank there. That's awesome.
When I was looking at the questions for priorities, for what you want in the next superintendent, I was surprised. I actually had to look up what a superintendent actually does, because when I was in school, the superintendent was the person that if you got in trouble, you could appeal to. If you got up high enough, that was really the only role for the superintendent.
We are not judging you, by the way.
Luckily, I never had to appeal to the superintendent. But
thank you for clarifying.
That's who I thought they were. That's what I thought their whole job was. So recognizing that their job is to come up with a budget, to help with staffing, to determine who should be in the roles and what information to accept from the people in those roles and how to communicate that information. So really what I'd say a superintendent needs to do is be able to recognize talent and let the talented people do their jobs, and otherwise communicate that information across. So communicating information that they get from teachers to principals and other office staff, as well as to board members, and information from board members back to teachers, but also making sure that parents get the information that they really need about how the schools are doing, any special events, making sure that your kid is attending classes, and that we don't have uneducated populace in Alief. I was surprised that budgeting wasn't one of those things that was a high priority for that, because a superintendent needs to be able to read through the financials, understand what's there, look at where money might be wasted or better appropriated to. You have parents who want more special ed funding, you want parents who want more sports stadiums, like all of these different things, and the board and superintendent need to figure out where the priorities actually lie in order to get the most value for the money that's available. Otherwise, I think that there are a lot of challenges in political climate that you brought up, from things like book bannings and sexual identity and all of these things that are very political in nature. And as a parent, I know that one of the issues is you don't necessarily know where you stand, where your school stands, what to do about these things. You want to know what books are considered for being banned or have been banned. You want to know what books people are really complaining about. As far as sexual identity goes, there needs to be a policy that teachers know what to do, how to respond, and parents need to be made aware of what that policy actually is so that they can communicate with their child, hey, these are the types of things you need to expect. If somebody wants to be called he, her, or sorry, he, him, or he, his, then you need to expect that no matter what they look like on the outside, if that is something that the school district is going to implement. So that way the parents can work with the children to just establish social norms and make sure that they're not going to get in trouble for something where they're just making somebody else feel uncomfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. As an Alief parent, I would like that our next superintendent continue the path that Mr. Chambers and staff guide us through the COVID situation. And I'm trying to get the rest of that as well, but I'm having problems scrolling. So again, commending the staff and Mr. Chambers during COVID.
I know we've had a couple of people join us here. Going back to, I'll start with question 1 again and go through 4 for people that are on Zoom, as well as for anyone in our room here, is what are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? If you think of anything fresh, even though we've asked the question once, feel free to come up to our microphone, feel free to add your comments in Zoom. And then our second question goes back to what are your current celebrations for your school system? We know they're out there. What are you really proud of? Question 3, what current challenges must be overcome in order to achieve the goals that your superintendent and your board sets for one another in the school system? More importantly, the students that you serve, right? That's what we're all here for. And then the fourth question is, what characteristics, traits, experiences would help the new superintendent have the best chance of moving your school system forward?
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. For me, I think the next superintendent should be more transparent with information and data. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. During the school board meetings, let's say they're talking about parent survey. They'll say, oh, we received a whole bunch of responses from the parents. There were over 200 responses from the parents. That sounds good, but being a math teacher, right, what's that denominator? 200 over 4,600 parents is only 0.0043%. That's not good at all. That means that you're not getting out to the parents and having their voices heard. So our current superintendent does a good job of the glows, but I don't want you picking and choosing what information comes to me. Give it all to me and let me determine what's good and what's bad, or what I want to know, or what I don't want to know. So the next superintendent, I would hope that they would be more transparent in giving the information that we so desire. I don't, we get the COVID-19 updates, and if your child goes to Taylor, you won't get the updates from ELSA. But my child travels to the CTE center with the ELSA students. My child travels to the CTE center with the Hastings students. So why am I not getting that update? Because you don't want to ring any alarm. But at the end of the day, my child's been exposed and it's been in other schools, and you're not sharing that information. So just being more transparent with the information. I don't know if you like Sprite, you worry about your image, but you can't do that when you're a public servant. You have to be transparent with any and all information. So that's what I would like to see.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to give the full comment as it appeared earlier. As an Alief parent, I would like that our next superintendent continue the path that Mr. Chambers guided us throughout COVID and before that. And we love the way that everything was handled and communicated with us as families. So again, that was a full comment there.
Very good. Any others?
Celebrations in Alief ISD are the hardworking family liaisons who keep our families equipped with resources and tools to help their child and themselves be successful.
Absolutely.
The entire FACE department, FACE department, is doing a tremendous job.
Any other comments here in the audience? I'll go over the questions one more time. because we definitely want to, we know we have people probably dropping in and out of Zoom, right? So that's really important. I know we've had a couple people come in, but definitely for those that are joining us remotely. What are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? That was our first question. Hopes and aspirations for your school system. Question 2 goes back to what are your current celebrations in Alief? Question 3, current challenges that must be overcome to achieve the expressed shared hopes and desires of those that live here, right? And question 4 goes back to the qualities, characteristics, traits, and experiences that would help the new superintendent have the best chance of moving your school system forward. And I say school system because it's not just about any one school, right? It's about serving all the students here in Alief, every community within the school system. Sir, go ahead.
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. We're in a safe space, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Alief ISD has 100,000 registered voters here. Only 10% vote in local elections, right? As you can see, the participation here in the audience is kind of low, not kind of, it is very low. I don't know what the data looks like online, but I'm assuming it's even worse, right? So I'm saying that to say that the individuals that represent the least are determining the decisions and the direction of the district for those whom aren't getting their voices heard. I'm gonna just be transparent. You were here when Delson first opened. I was here in the 80s. I was one of 3 African-American families here in the district. It was predominantly white. Right? Albright was considered all white. That was the nickname that they was given to us. So I'm saying that to say that the 10% and the 15% are driving the district. And those are generally the individuals who do not have children in our district. There are individuals that normally have been here since the age of you and I, may not necessarily look like me, may not necessarily live in my communities and may live in the Shadow Creeks, et cetera, et cetera. So I think our next superintendent has to do a better job reaching the audience and getting the participation from the individuals whom these decisions are affecting the most, and not doing such a great job of interacting with the individuals whom their decisions only affect their tax rates. So I would like to see that change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
To piggyback off of what he was saying, I believe our community will want a superintendent that embraces the diversity, the culture that we have here. Alief is very unique. This young man said here that we have a lottery system. So when you talk about football, say for instance, robbery, it's not a robbery, it's a friendly robbery, because you could be living in the same house going to a different school. And when I talked earlier, I said that the alumni, the students here are very Alief proud, very Alief proud. I don't know any other district that has a store where they say sell Alief goods, and the kids go and they buy Alief products with Alief written on it. I think a couple of years ago, we may have a parent came from another district, wanted to push the button about her child wearing earrings, and the reason the district was able to defend the policy was because the alumni said, hey, we've been doing this for a while. That's Alief proud. Yes, some of our children are raw, but we embrace that, and we more or less want to say, teach them, train them, not to take away the culture that they know, but to embrace it and move them forward. We have athletes been in the Super Bowl, and when you ask them where they're from, they say Alief, Texas. They don't say I went to A&M, they're from Alief, Texas. We have doctors, they get excited when someone from Alief is one of their patients. They give them the best. You know, we have rappers, yes, we have rappers here. Lizzo is a big one that's coming from Alief. And the kids are proud. They're ready to return. So we don't look down, because for some reason, people have sort of want to look down at Alief. Alief has more to offer than most districts do. And so whoever come here, I would love for them to embrace the culture that the district has already established to move our district forward.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that comment. We need someone who will actively consider the concerns of employees, someone who will take an active look at employee turnover with concentration on the cost of retaining good, faithful staff as compared to the cost of hiring new staff to fill the vacancies. Good comment.
Good comment. Thank you to those, once again, that are joining us via Zoom.
Our next superintendent should be a people person. He or she should value the importance of family engagement, as so many studies have already proven its importance to student success and classroom progress. Excellent comment.
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. I want to thank you all for standing up here and taking all of this barrage from the community and myself. And I think more of these type of conversations need to happen. I mean, we do diagnoses as an educator, right? You don't wait till the end of the year to assess your kids. So I think if Alief had more of these safe spaces where we could have our voices heard, like I said, they do a great job. I mean, if you agree with the things that they're doing, they'll bring you in and have you sitting on all type of committees and put you in the newspaper, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't agree with them at all, and if you have some concerns, they don't do such a great job of sharing those stories. The way I became an educator in Alief, when the superintendent chambers first got here in 2010, I was active in the community. And so I was sought after. I sat on several committees for 3 years with school board trustee Tiffany Thomas, who went on to become city councilwoman Tiffany Thomas, and then Natasha Butler, community member Natasha Butler, who went on to become school board trustee Natasha Butler as well. So we were sought after when HD first got here because our voice was big and we were advocates for our community. But somehow between the transition of finding out the truth or speaking about additional ways to do things or different ways to do things, Damon Barone became public enemy #1. So I think we need to do, the next superintendent, we need to have more forums like this, more opportunities for you to hear the concerns, and don't be disgusted by it. If I didn't love Alief, I wouldn't have my children in the district. If I didn't love Alief, I wouldn't be here at 12 p.m. I wouldn't have made all the town hall meetings. My family wouldn't be teaching in the district. I wouldn't have taught in the district. I could take my tax money someplace else, but I'm here fighting for the community. So clearly, there must be a reason that's keeping me here. And just thinking that because I don't agree with certain things or because I have a big voice that I shouldn't be heard, that concerns me. And that's why many people probably are not here, because they're concerned about retaliation, they're concerned about repercussions, and that's not a noble way of running our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we definitely are in a safe place as far as if anyone has any comment to share regarding these 4 questions. We're here to serve this school system and this community, and being able to share the comments with your school board, your elected officials, your locally elected officials, that is, so they can develop a profile. And we'll be working directly with your board in the development of that profile. But that will drive everything as far as the questions we're asking: qualities, characteristics, background, whether it's urban, whether it's suburban, everything that you can imagine regarding hiring your next superintendent will come from the profile that's developed. We'll be seeking those individuals to apply for this position based on the profile that's developed.
Yeah, based on the input as well, all input. That's why your voice is so critical, and I don't think anyone needs to apologize ever for being a voice, whether it's in a proactive or a reactive state. I can tell you it always comes back that when we work together, we're always better together. So I thank you for that, and everyone here. The question, how will you ensure staff will be retained? That's something that was typed in, Mr. McKay. And then our amazing Alief district, it's the best because of our beautiful and diverse community we have. We need a superintendent who is willing to work hand in hand with us to bring up the Alief as one.
It's a great comment.
Better together. Again, that's the thing.
So we have 20 minutes left. I'm going to read through the questions one more time. So anyone that's in attendance, please feel free to share, even if you've been up to the mic previously, regarding any of the questions for that matter. Question one, for all those on Zoom as well that are in attendance, are what are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? So if you sit back and you're relaxing, you're thinking, oh, I wish Alief, fill in the blank. That's an aspiration you may have. What are your current celebrations for Alief ISD? We've heard several here today already. And then, more where the rubber meets the road is, what are the current challenges that must be overcome to achieve those hopes and aspirations that you have for your school system, your children, as well as those that serve your children? And then the fourth question goes back to what characteristics, traits, experiences would help your next superintendent have the best chance of moving your school system forward.
As you're thinking about those questions, another comment just came in. I would like that we would provide a program for families that have a bachelor's degree that will move here from other countries, but are not able to use their skills and talents due to not having a degree in the United States. Or Texas. This could possibly help with the teacher shortage that we have in our district. If we provide a program or a way to use them in our district, again, those with bachelor's degrees from other state or other countries. Excellent point, excellent point.
So talking about onboarding parents as well as their children in your school system. Other comments? Here we go.
Y'all probably saying he's wearing his microphone out. Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. It would be nice for the next superintendent to focus on retention. This gentleman talked about being fiscally sound. In any customer service business, your bread and butter is retaining your customers and not seeking new customers. So we have a high teacher turnover rate. The district likes to look that there's a shortage of teachers, but unfortunately we do a great job of recruiting. We just don't retain them. So there's not a teacher shortage here in Alief, there's a retention shortage. And so when we spend all this extra money on putting new teachers through Alief U, when we do all this, spend all this money on doing recruiting, for example, Dr. Powell went to Puerto Rico to recruit Spanish-speaking teachers. Now, I don't, you stated you worked at the Rio Grande. I think the Rio Grande is a whole lot closer than Puerto Rico, and we're right neighbored up against Mexico. So why we would have to go to Puerto Rico to seek Spanish-speaking teachers is beyond me. So in my humble opinion, that's a waste of my tax money. We're top heavy on administrators. We got like 5 or 6 directors of human resources. We got assistant superintendent of human resources. But the very first time we talk about budget cuts, guess what we're cutting? Student programs, teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, maintenance workers. That's unacceptable to me. I don't need 5 human resources directors. I don't need you going to Puerto Rico to recruit Spanish-speaking teachers. It might even be cheaper to have our teachers learn how to speak Spanish than it is to go get those teachers and then they leave after we've invested in them. We recruit from Nebraska, right? So we speak 85 to 90 different languages here in Alief. I speak 1 and barely a little bit of Spanish, so I'm not part of that. I'm struggling in that area. But we speak 85 to 90 different languages here in Alief. Some people from Nebraska come in here, never even seen an African American in their life. And I can say that respectfully because I went to school in North Dakota, Valley City State, North Dakota, where it was some people there, it was the first time ever seeing an African American. So I can only imagine coming from Nebraska, coming from North Dakota, coming from other places that have very limited minority, and then trying to figure out what's going on here. And wondering why we have a high retention rate, because you're not used to dealing with the clientele that you were brought here to work with. So I'd like to see the district do a better job of their retention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And along that line, I wish Alief will try other ways to retain staff. This district is tight-knit, so it should grow its own staff through various leadership opportunities.
Absolutely. That's a good comment. Well, just to piggyback on
Would you like my lapel mic?
I appreciate it. We almost done it. So Damon Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. And to piggyback on that, if you go to the school board meetings and then you notice the new hires, what I've noticed is that many of the teachers and the administrators that are being hired, they go off the Fort Penn, they go off the HISD, they go off the Cypher, and then they come back, and then you're sitting in the school board meeting and they're gloating on how great they are, and this, that, and the third. Well, if they were so great, why'd you let them leave Alief to begin with? How did they get away? Why do they have to go to another district to get promoted and then come back and do the work here in Alief where they originally started? So that goes to that retention process again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another comment, I would hope that the next superintendent will review the pay of our paraprofessionals. Most of us are making less than $25,000 in salary, which does cost most paraprofessionals seek jobs elsewhere. And that's the comment. Yes.
I'll go through our questions one more time. This time I'll change things up. How about that? I'll start with question number 4 and move up to 1. So question 4 was, what characteristics, traits, experiences would help the new superintendent, give them, that person the best chance of being successful here in your school system? Question 3 was your current challenges that must be overcome in order to achieve your hopes and your desires. When this person looks at the notes that were developed in the profile and public comment and, what needs to be overcome in order to meet everyone's needs. And then question 2, your celebrations. We'd love to hear those as well. And the number 1 question was your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD. We know we have people out there in the Zoom world, and we have people here that may want one last comment.
Mike, I just got a comment, says it's kind of hard to hear, so you might want to just go back to those questions.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to type it fast.
Question 4 was what characteristics, traits, and experiences would help the new superintendent have the best chance of moving Alief ISD forward? Question 3, what current challenges must be overcome in order to achieve your hopes and aspirations? Question 2, once again, what are your current celebrations of Alief? And question number 1 was, what are your current hopes and aspirations for Alief ISD? Now we expect a comment from that, for anyone out there in Zoom. Thank you very much. I knew you were going to come up. It was just a matter of time.
Jennifer Garcia, I'm a parent in the Alief District. I have two children. They are both at opposite ends of the spectrum. I have one child who receives GT services. I have another child who receives special education services. So trying to navigate Alief as a parent, I come from the Pasadena School District on the other side of town. So Alief was different for me in trying to navigate what the resources were. I actually started my first child off in a charter school and realized that there were limited resources available for me there. And I ended up coming back to Alief. Despite some reputation that I had heard about Alief, just word of mouth and such, but I've been in the Alief District now for several years, and my children are getting the support services that they need. I look for the next superintendent to be a visionary, to increase the community, to increase communication. Some of my children's teachers have been very good communicators. Class Dojo is an excellent program. I've been able to communicate with many of the teachers that way. Some teachers don't use Class Dojo, and trying to navigate if they're using Class Dojo or something else. The communication can be better. We all received the text blasts from the district. Like 2 weeks ago, I was sitting outside the school waiting for me, the teacher, and everyone around me at 6 p.m., their phones pinged off, we're happy to meet your children on Monday morning. So we all get the text blasts, but sometimes we don't get other communication to know what's going on. Just to piggyback off the comment from Zoom earlier about parent visitors being welcomed back into the school, I experienced that as well these past 2 years, and I understand the need for safety. One of my children only started as a kindergartner in the pandemic, and that was extremely difficult. So trying to navigate getting him into school and getting him the services he needed was difficult. And we missed being able to be with our children in school. For example, birthdays, coming in, visiting them for birthdays and mushrooms and stuff. I don't have a whole lot else to add. This is just my comments, just my testimony. So thank you for listening.
Well, thank you for sharing. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Do we have anything else? I'm a former teacher, so I know what wait time looks like.
Right.
I think we have around 7 minutes left. So if we have anyone that would like to share any last minute thoughts, either through Zoom or our audience. I'm going to say this before he speaks, so.
Go Bears.
No, go Rams.
Greetings, Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and alumnus. I just want to thank you all for your hard work and efforts going forward. I'm excited about the change and the possibilities of what's to come. Again, I don't want to walk away from here thinking that I'm an angry parent, angry taxpayer. I just have a lot of concerns. More so the fact that I haven't been able to openly express those concerns. And so now this has been a perfect opportunity because now the district is forced to listen to my voice. So just looking forward to change, looking forward to the future, very excited. And thank you all for your work and due diligence, and thank you for listening.
Appreciate you being here.
Okay, there are a couple of comments. Are there any new state-of-the-art technologies or facilities planned in the nearest future to give our children Alief ISD the best and most modern tools? Excellent point. We've got another one. Celebrations, helping an Alief parent move away and come back to Alief and get hired at Alief. We now work together at the same campus.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Any others?
Yes. Yes, thankful that the district is providing choices for high school students to seek and look into different career choices and having an early education facility for our early learners. Awesome job, Dave.
So just a quick recap regarding the process. As you know, we have this meeting here this afternoon. We have one more scheduled on Saturday for community input. I believe that's available via Zoom as well. And then from there, we'll be putting together a draft profile for your board's consideration. Your board will obviously have an opportunity to add any, additions, deletions to that profile, and then adopt the final profile that will then be shared with potential candidates. And then at that point in time, the job posting will go up in reference to the vacancy. And then I believe right now it'll be posted for roughly 1 month.
Yes.
And we'll be making phone calls as a firm too, reaching out to people that meet that profile, those who may be interested. Even if they're not interested in moving to Alief, Texas, we're going to still reach out to those that we believe would be good, quality candidates for your board to consider. And then in the end, we'll have a recommended list of candidates that will be presented to your board. Your board will be privy to all of the information. So if there's a candidate that's not on the list, it's like, oh, I thought Mike McKay was on the list. I don't see his name here. They could go back and look for my information and say, oh, we would really like to interview Mike. Okay, not a problem. This is your board's decision. The board will drive that process and then ultimately interview all the candidates. Normally that's a two-step process. You have the first round of interviews and maybe interview 2 to 3 max, second round. And then in the state of Texas, you have to keep in mind there's a 21-day waiting period. Once the board votes on a finalist, that candidate has to wait 21 days, the board has to wait 21 days before offering the contract. So realistically, you're probably looking at a mid-year placement of your new superintendent coming on board, which is a good time if you think about it. Right at the semester, nice time, kids are on break, starting new and fresh after the new year. So that's kind of a timeline. I know there's a timeline, I believe it's posted on your website. When I looked at it last week, it was out there. So please continue to monitor your website. You can still go to your website to provide feedback regarding the questions we went over here this afternoon. Just keep in mind, that's for everyone. That's for staff, that's for students, that's for parents, that's for business leaders, anyone within Alief ISD. Please feel free to complete that survey. And that will all go back to the development of the profile, as well as that just generic information that you shared with the potential candidate. Okay? Would you like to come to the mic?
No, I was trying to save y'all, but just to...
Otherwise, people online won't hear us. I apologize.
I was trying to save y'all from my presence, but Damon, Barone, Alief ISD, parent, taxpayer, and others. Wanted to mention that the town hall meeting on Saturday is at the administration building, not here. So that's one caveat. And then you dropped some information, some data, and I had to ask, why do they have to wait for 21 days?
That's a state law. That's the state of Texas dictates that for any superintendent that's hired within our state.
Right, like what are they looking for? Like are they doing background checks or something?
No, it's just time for either the school district or the candidate to back out, or if there was something last minute, we try to do our job as far as filtering information and making sure we are 110% candid with your school board regarding the background information of any candidate that's presented. So that's just
it's just state
a
law.
provision.
It's a state law.
It's in place.
Yeah, the nerd in me wouldn't just let me accept that information without me.
It's
It's very false because things can happen. 21 days is a long time for some, and things happen, things change. But for the most part, that's why it's there. Challenges: do not look at students as a dollar sign. Be proud of our enrollment and work with those who want to work with us. We do not want to have to go to other districts and recruit. those who, I'm so sorry, those who are here are those we focus on. Then our success will inspire others. Excellent point.
Very good point. Well, I think we're at 1 o'clock. We want to appreciate everyone that took time out of their day to come to the physical meeting, town hall meeting here this afternoon. And we also want to thank all those that were able to join us via Zoom. Thank you so much. And please encourage your colleagues, your friends, your neighbors to go online and complete that survey. We really appreciate all of you being here today. Thank you so much.
Again, a couple more comments.
Oh,
Just that,
go ahead.
I would like to see the new superintendent be a strong communicator and one who builds policies around community engagement. I'll make sure I get all of them. Create a two-way anonymous reporting feedback process where students and teachers can relay their individual experiences. Such report can be investigated. It says thank you.
Very good. Thank you again. Steve, do you have any closing comments you'd like to make?
No, we just thank you for allowing us to be a part of this process. You know, as a former superintendent, I know how critical it is for a community to have a superintendent, and I know that HD Chambers did an amazing 12-year run. Is it 13? I know
12.
It's 12. And so, but just like everything else, we can always, you know, he sets the foundation that can then grow upon. Because if you look, you know, if you've ever read Good to Great, Level 5 leadership isn't about, you know, how you did. It's about when you leave, how does the organization adapt to the next level? And I think it's poised for that next level because of the stability of that leadership. So again, the stability of that leadership is also part of the community. And the community has expressed that, you know, quality is, I mean, quantity, yes, we love every chair to be filled, but I didn't take that as a way to say, oh, I wish I took what's the quality of the voice that was resonating here today. And yes, you know, there were a few people, but the quantity wasn't much with regard to that. But that's not discounting those that were here with the quality of what you had to say. So thank you for that, and continue to be active in your child's education, be active in the community, because as you well know, I believe this, and this is why I love working, doing this part now. The future of our democracy is how well we educate students in the public schools. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you.